The story of Jack Ma, speak English, think big. On a cool morning in the city of Hangzhou many decades ago, a young boy pushed his bicycle toward the main hotel in town. He was thin, smaller than most boys his age, and his school grades were not impressive. Yet every morning he carried the same quiet determination. The boy's name was Jack Ma, and his secret mission was simple: to practice English. He did not have expensive tutors or overseas trips. What he had was courage. Jack would offer free tours of his hometown to foreign travelers who stayed at the hotel. He would guide them through the streets, point at buildings, and stumble over English words that he had memorized from a pocket notebook. The tourists smiled at his effort, sometimes correcting him, sometimes laughing kindly. And little by little, word by word, his world expanded. Welcome to Learn English Listening, the channel where you improve your English while discovering stories that inspire. Here we believe that language is not just grammar or vocabulary. It is a bridge that can connect you to opportunity, growth, and new dreams. Think about this. A boy with no money and no resources managed to turn the sidewalks of Hangzhou into his classroom. He built confidence by speaking, by listening, by making mistakes and trying again. Many of us hesitate to speak a second language because we fear looking foolish. Jack Ma did not escape that fear, but he faced it every single day. Where are you watching this from, and what time is it right now? Pause for a moment. Write your answer in the comments, and remember, you are not alone on this journey. Just as Jack once stumbled through his sentences, you too are walking a path that can lead to something extraordinary. As Jack Ma grew older, the path did not suddenly become easy. In fact, his story is marked by rejection after rejection. He failed the entrance exam for university not once, but twice. Only on his third attempt did he finally manage to get in. For many people, 2 failures would have been enough to stop trying. But Jack believed that every setback had something to teach him. Later, when he graduated, he applied for dozens of jobs. Each application was answered with a polite but firm no. At one point, 24 people applied to work at a new KFC restaurant in his city. 23 were accepted. Jack Ma was the only one rejected. Imagine the sting of that moment. The embarrassment of walking home alone, knowing every other candidate had been chosen. These failures are not unique to Jack. They mirror the pressures faced by millions of people between the ages of 25 and 40. You may feel the same weight, competition at work, the challenge of providing for family, the silent comparisons with friends who seem more successful. You scroll through social media and wonder why your life looks smaller, why your opportunities feel limited. Jack Ma admitted that he often felt small and powerless. Yet he did not let rejection define him. He used the pain as fuel. Every no pushed him to find another way. Every closed door forced him to look for an open window. This is the part of his story that speaks to us most clearly. Success is not about never failing. It is about refusing to give up after failing. Have you ever felt stuck in this same way? Perhaps you faced a closed door that made you question your worth. Share your story in the comments, because sometimes the simple act of telling it helps us see that we are not alone, and that our failures might just be pointing us toward a better road ahead. What changed Jack Ma's life was not only hard work, but also a hidden key: the way English reshaped his thinking. By speaking with travelers, he saw a world beyond his own neighborhood. He learned that language is more than words. It is a lens through which you see possibilities. For years, he rode his bicycle before dawn, hoping to find just one foreign visitor who would let him practice. The lessons were free, but the value was priceless. Listening to stories from people across the world gave him courage to think differently. He began to imagine a future not limited to Hangzhou or even to China. This shift in perspective planted the seed of his dream. From those conversations, Jack adopted 3 powerful English phrases that can also guide your life. The first phrase is, think big. To think big means daring to imagine a vision larger than your current reality. Jack was not satisfied with a small, safe job. He allowed himself to dream of connecting China with the world through the internet. The second phrase is, failure is feedback. Instead of seeing failure as a punishment, Jack treated it like a teacher. Each rejection letter, each exam he failed, became feedback on how to improve. If you repeat this phrase to yourself, it can transform disappointment into direction. The third phrase is, step out of your comfort zone. Jack knew that real growth happens when you leave the safe circle. Speaking broken English to strangers was uncomfortable, but it built confidence. Starting Alibaba was risky, but it opened doors no one thought possible. Repeat these phrases with me now. Think big. Failure is feedback. Step out of your comfort zone. Let them become not just English lessons, but life lessons you carry into your own journey. Jack Ma's hidden key was not money or connections. It was the courage to use language as a tool for vision. If he could expand his world with just a bicycle and a notebook, imagine what you can do with the resources you have today. By the late 1990s, Jack Ma stood at another crossroad. He gathered a small group of friends in his tiny apartment and shared a vision, an online marketplace that could connect buyers and sellers across China and eventually the whole world. The idea sounded impossible. Most people had never even used the internet. Yet Jack spoke with the same conviction he once used when stumbling through English sentences with tourists. The early days of Alibaba were filled with doubt. Investors laughed at the thought of a Chinese teacher building a global company. Even Jack himself admitted he did not fully understand technology. What he did understand was perseverance. He believed that language and conviction mattered more than technical perfection. He convinced his friends to believe as well. There were nights when the team had no money to pay salaries. There were days when competitors threatened to crush them. In those moments, Jack remembered the lessons of his youth. Think big, accept failure as feedback, and step out of the comfort zone. These words became anchors during storms. One powerful story is how Jack once traveled to America to raise investment. He faced rejection after rejection, just as he had in his early job searches. But instead of giving up, he delivered his pitch with growing energy each time. He knew that if even one person believed, it could change everything. Eventually, support came, and Alibaba began to grow beyond anyone's imagination. In those difficult years, Jack often reminded his team that perseverance mattered more than talent. He told them stories of his childhood struggles and used humor to ease their fear. By creating a spirit of unity, he turned ordinary friends into believers. That collective faith became the hidden engine that kept Alibaba alive. Imagine yourself in that room, a man with limited English, no wealth, no background in technology, yet daring to speak of building the world's largest online market. The courage to keep going when almost no one believed is what transformed Jack Ma into a symbol of resilience. If you could change one habit this week, what would it be? Perhaps it is the habit of giving up too soon, or the habit of thinking too small. Share your answer in the comments, because your new habit might be the seed of your own breakthrough. When we look back on Jack Ma's story, the failures no longer feel like heavy stones. Instead, they look like stepping stones laid across a river. Each one carried him forward, even when the water of doubt rose high. This is the healing truth we can take from his journey. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the soil in which success grows. Think of a seed buried underground. To the outside world, it looks lost, pressed down in the dark. Yet inside the soil, transformation is happening. Roots are spreading, strength is forming, and soon a shoot will break through the surface. Jack Ma's rejections were like that soil. They seemed to bury him, but they were really preparing him to grow taller. For anyone learning English or striving for personal growth, this image matters. Every mistake you make while speaking, every sentence you stumble through, is like water and sunlight for your seed. Instead of shame, carry patience. Instead of fear, carry persistence. In time, your words will bloom into confidence. Jack Ma's story reframes how we see obstacles. They are not walls built to trap us, but storms that water the ground. After rain, the air clears. After struggle, your voice grows stronger. That is why learning English or pursuing any dream should never be measured by how quickly you arrive, but by how steadily you continue. So if you feel buried today under rejection, remember the seed. The darkness is temporary. What matters is the life that is forming within you, waiting for the right moment to rise. When you practice English and stumble, think of Jack Ma laughing at his own mistakes while speaking with strangers. He did not wait for perfect grammar before starting. He allowed imperfection to be his teacher. You too can let every broken sentence water the roots of your confidence. Jack Ma's journey reminds us that life often places us at a fork in the road. On one side lies comfort, the decision to stay safe, avoid risk, and keep our dreams small. On the other side lies growth, the decision to think bigger, to face rejection, and to keep walking even when the path feels uncertain. You stand at that same crossroad today. Perhaps your dream is not to build a global company, but to master English, to switch careers, or to finally speak with confidence in a room full of strangers. Whatever it is, the choice remains the same: comfort or growth. At this moment, you stand between comfort and growth. Which path will you take? Jack Ma chose growth, and his story changed not only his life, but also the lives of millions. The lesson is not that you must be the next Jack Ma. The lesson is that the courage to learn, to fail, and to rise again can open doors you never imagined. If this video gave you something meaningful, share it with someone who needs encouragement today. And subscribe to keep walking with us on this journey of English and self-growth. Remember, every time you practice, you are one step closer to your own breakthrough.